And good Thursday morning. It is January 21st in the year 2021. 8:09 right now. And yes, you've got it tuned in to the Morning Roundtable here on AM 1320, FM 1013, WKAN. I am your host, Josh Carman. Jim Byrne is here as well.
Good morning.
And we're going to take a look at the forecast before we continue this morning. Today, it's going to be sunny out there with a high of 39. Then tonight, partly cloudy skies, some scattered flurries overnight, low near 15. Friday, tomorrow, sunny with a high of 22. Saturday, mostly sunny, high of 29. Sunday, chance for some snow and freezing rain, high of 35. There's also a chance for snow and freezing rain Monday, high of 33. Right now, the sun is shining. It's 29 degrees at the Greater Kankakee Airport, and you're up to date with the weather here on the Morning Roundtable. And we have someone with us.
Yes,
right
we
now.
do.
Good morning. Who's this?
Good morning. It's Sheriff Downey.
Good morning, Sheriff. How you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys?
Good. Oh, we're doing good. Doing good.
And glad to see Jim is upright.
Yes.
Good news.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
The year didn't start out thinking. I didn't think that way at the start of the year, but all good so far.
Well, it's good to have Kankakee County Sheriff Mike Downey on the show today. Sheriff, we wanted you to come on to get your thoughts and feelings and talk about the bill. It's been a week since that new law passed in Illinois, or the legislature passed it, that makes a lot of changes to the criminal justice system and really affects the police departments across Illinois. I know Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker has mentioned he's going to sign it, but has he signed it yet, or is it still on his desk?
Not to my knowledge. I believe it's still on his desk. And he has indicated, not directly, but he is in agreement with some of the things in the bill, as is law enforcement. I mean, it's not, there's things in there that we can certainly agree with. But there's a lot in there that just makes it a disaster for a lot of our community, and that's what makes it bad.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it seems like there was no consultation with law enforcement, that the legislature felt it was their job to dictate or mandate to law enforcement how to operate and adhere to these, or you do not get funding. Do you foresee maybe the governor to go back to the legislature and say maybe we need to bring law enforcement in to discuss this? Let's tweak it a little bit?
Well, we hope so. That would be the right thing to do. Again, nobody, and I mean nobody in law enforcement has ever said that reform is not needed. We get it. Mm-hmm. And, I have argued that, at least here in Kankakee County, we are always reforming, whether it's our policies or things like that. So it's a constant thing. Just because we reform it now doesn't mean that next year there's not going to be something else we need to tweak. So it's an ongoing effort. It's a tough business, and we will continue to, obviously follow the law. But there's a number of things in here I'd really like to share with you that, and Jim, you mentioned it earlier. It's obvious to anybody who read that bill that law enforcement was not involved in the process, and that's frustrating. Like any profession, the ones who are coming up with some of this language has no idea what law enforcement does on a daily basis and the amount of good that we do. Unfortunately, for all the good that police do in our community and everywhere else, it's negated by one thing that happens in Minneapolis or so. That's the frustrating part, and there's other issues that have happened that police have made mistakes, and unfortunately, police are human beings, and mistakes are going to happen. So This bill doesn't prevent police from making a mistake. All it does is put our community in more danger than it was before.
Yeah. What are some of the things in the bill that you like that you see as positives?
Well, on the one side of it, police are not opposed to training. We feel like training is beneficial for us. It's beneficial for our community. It makes us better. The problem is there's nothing in here that provides any funding. So one of the arguments that is made out there that, started after the George Floyd incident is defunding the police. Well, the legislature that came up with this bill will say, well, there's nothing in here that says we're going to defund the police. But what happens is they mandate all this training, and training, unfortunately, isn't free. So whenever we have to provide money to train our officers that's mandated, that's going to take away from our budget that's already, not funded properly. So, in a sense, it is defunding the police.
Yeah, and it's, again,
same thing with body cameras. We agree, and I would argue that I would guess every law enforcement agency in the country would be okay with body cameras. But what the problem is, because I truly believe that body cameras help law enforcement more than they would help somebody who feels like they were mistreated. And, the original cost, the basic cost of the cameras themselves are very affordable. And again, we are more than happy to invest in body cameras. Where the cost comes in is the storage of all the information that is obtained by these body cameras 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. To store all that, the storage is just an astronomical cost. Now, could we do that? Sure. But then that would mean cutting probably 10 or so officers out of our budget to be able to afford that, let alone the cost that it takes to, when somebody files a FOIA who wants body cam footage, we have to have personnel to do that. We have to be able to redact certain things that, shouldn't be in there, whether it's the face of some innocent bystander or whatever. So there is significant cost to those cameras that nobody really takes into account.
We're speaking with Kankakee County Sheriff Mike Downey this morning.
Yeah, and you just hit it on the head, Mike, when it comes to the funding. It's great to have body cams, but there are a lot of small departments that's going to just break them. You have a small department of 10 officers in some of these rural parts of the state. They don't have that in their budget, are unable to. And
some of those smaller agencies couldn't even afford the cameras.
Exactly. Yeah, we're lucky here, and we, like you stated before, in our county, especially with your leadership and how you engage the community, local leaders, and all the So I always felt we should be a template for how other areas should look at and model themselves after.
I would agree. I mean, we have a great working relationship with our community, whether it's out in the Herscher Grant Park area, whether it's in the city of Kankakee, whether it's in Hopkins Park. We deal with all those individuals, all the time. We're open, we're transparent, and we're willing to do what's right for our community. And it's unfortunate, but there's a number of other things in this bill. I'll give you one quick example, and I don't know how much time I got, but it won't take long. Let's say that somebody walks up, Josh, to in your building and is pounding on your door to get in. Mm-hmm. And it's an individual who you don't want there, who is causing a problem. In this legislation, when you call the police, we show up, and you want this person removed from the building, that's considered a trespass, illegal. It's a trespassing charge. Well, today, we can arrest that individual, bring him to jail. He has to post $75 to get out, and that's, he's now out of your hair. Under this legislation, Class B and C misdemeanors are no longer jailable. We would issue that individual a citation, and that individual is still out on the street. We don't bring him to jail. We don't, and so he can continue there to harass you. And I mean, that's just unfortunate for any business, any property owner. It's just, there's nothing that we can do to that person once they show up at your door and you want him removed. We have a number of interagency agreements now, and they're really big in the city of Kankakee. If somebody's trespassing in Kankakee and the property owner wants that individual removed, police show up. If the guy doesn't leave, they bring him to jail. He ends up, whether he's here, he gets a bond set in court, or he posts $75. But now city police are going to have to issue that individual a citation, and which they may or may not pay. And so, just something small like that, which is a misdemeanor, is going to create problems for property owners, business owners who don't want certain people on their property.
So, just the citizen like myself and the property owners, business owners, what do we need to do then? As far as
arm yourself.
Protect yourself. What's your advice?
Well, yeah, I mean, certainly you have to protect yourself, but you certainly need to let the police deal with it. We're going to deal with it as best we can. Again, these are things that, we're going to work to try to get the governor to, change some of this legislation. Like I said, some of it is, something that probably needs to happen in some way, shape, or form. But other parts of it just put the entire community in a position that, now you take, now when you can't remove somebody from that property, what's going to happen? And as Jim said, people now are, there's more people armed out there now than ever before. And, we certainly don't want something to happen where that property owner gets put in a position where, because he does something to get rid of this person, whether that puts him in a position to lose his business, his property, and then he ends up going to jail because somebody's trespassing on their property. Mm-hmm. It is just unbelievable.
It's awful.
And I'm concerned about this bill passing, that we're going to lose some very good police officers. I thought it was alarming last week. It was either earlier this week or last week or over the weekend. I saw someone shared, was it the Griffith, Indiana Police Department made a post on Facebook saying that they had recently got a lot of calls from police officers in Illinois asking what are the qualifications to become a police officer in Griffith, Indiana. And I was like,
no
wow.
doubt.
Yeah, I have a couple friends.
Yeah, no doubt. There's people looking to move and looking to be, people who've, dedicated their lives to law enforcement and protecting the public, and now our legislators have made that, more difficult to do without, opening ourselves up to, some form of criminal prosecution. As it is right now, here's another, example of what's in the bill. As I said before, and I am by no means sitting here telling you that every police stop we make, every police encounter we make is perfect. Our guys make mistakes. Police make mistakes. They may say the wrong thing. Now, the law is, if you want to make a complaint against the police officer, you have to sign a sworn affidavit. And they changed that, probably 15 or 20 years ago, where they forced people, if they want to complain against the police, file a complaint against the police, you sign an affidavit saying what I'm telling you is the truth. Now, if we find out that's not the truth, you could be charged with, I think it's filing a false police report. So that prevents people from filing a complaint, or at least that's what we think. If somebody's got a complaint, they should file it. That's the bottom line. We will deal with it here. Any other police agency will deal with the complaint. Well, once this becomes law, now a person doesn't have to sign an affidavit, can make an anonymous complaint, and then, this is the kicker, whether it's founded or unfounded or completely untrue, that stays in the personnel file of that police officer for his entire career.
Mm. Yeah, that's a big problem. I have friends, Mike, that have, through my time on the county board, all the guys on the sheriff's office. I have friends from high school I just talked to recently about this. They're coming up on the retirement time, and they're looking to get out. They just said, enough of this.
Well, and it's, then you start to look at the quality of applicants that you're going to get, of people who are going to really want to do this.
Yeah.
We're fortunate. Our last test, we had a good number of applications. Of course, it was before, this came out, but we had a good number of applications. We had a good number. We put them through the process, and we have what I feel is a good hiring list. Other agencies right now aren't so fortunate. So that's obviously going to be something to look at too down the road.
Sure. Well, I mean, I can just speak for myself, and I've gone on the ride-alongs, ridden with the guys in the sheriff's office, and a lot of people don't realize the work that goes on. Everyone thinks it's cops, or you see a bad incident. Oh, that's what all that goes on. No one sees the helping people, going out and trying to help somebody with this or that. There's more positives than anyone would ever imagine. And police officers are in situations where they're doing things that most people would never do to help another person, but they do it, and it's part of their job. But they believe in it. It's what they do. It's what their calling is.
Well, when there is police interaction, I mean, even now with even the things that have been changed, they've slowly but surely have changed the way police do their work. And unfortunately, we have gone from a much more proactive approach in trying to prevent things from happening. Now we're more reactive, because if we try to be proactive and the wrong person is approached, it becomes some sort of issue about the police harassing somebody for whatever reason.
Oh, it's awful.
Police work itself now is more reactive. So we're getting called to these places to respond to whatever the call is. There's not much of getting out questioning somebody because of the way they look. I mean, that's just not happening.
No,
right.
No, I have a friend of mine. He's a police officer in the western suburbs, and I'm not going to say what department, but he told me just recently he goes on duty, finds a parking spot for a while, runs some radar every now and then, and just waits for the calls. He used to be very proactive, and he's one of those who was at the end of his career said, I'm not jeopardizing myself or put myself or the department at risk because it just isn't worth it.
Yeah, and it is important for us. I mean, especially in a big county, we have 680 square miles. It's important for us to be out and about and be in our areas where we need to be, and our guys do a great job of it.
They do.
We're certainly not going to, we're not going to back down. We're not going to sit on our hands, and we're not, we are still going to do the job that we're hired to do. We're still going to do the best that we can to keep our community safe. And, regardless of whatever they pass or whatever the governor signs, our guys are committed to do the work. I'm committed to do the work. And, so that's not going to change. But what's going to change is, and this is where, it gets into, somebody's out on the street after they just committed a crime. Well, yeah, because they don't have to post any bail to get out of jail. So, what's the incentive to not do something when you're going to get right back out of jail? And what that's going to create is more people not showing up for court. It's going to create more warrants, and it's going to create additional interactions between police and offenders, which increases the odds of something bad happening.
Yeah, Well, I can tell you right now, real quick, the deputies we have are fantastic.
Yep.
With the sheriff's department, we are very lucky to have and blessed to have what we have in law enforcement and all the municipalities. We have great law enforcement in this community.
We do. Yeah, we're lucky.
Kankakee County Sheriff Mike Downey, thank you so much for spending some time with us this morning to discuss this. Not something good to hear about, but thank you for your service, and hopefully, the governor does listen to you guys and brings it back to the table and be like, hey, let's ask some of these law enforcement groups, their thoughts and feelings on this. So.
Yep. Well, I appreciate the opportunity, guys. As always, you guys do a great job in getting the information out there. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you,
Sheriff.
Day, sir. Talk to you later, Mike.
All right. Take care, guys.
Bye.